Welcome to English with Abby and Tori. I'm Abby, and today we will talk about phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are a tricky part of the English language, but they are very important, especially if you want to sound like a native speaker. Native speakers use phrasal verbs all the time when speaking. The way we create a phrasal verb is by taking a verb and adding one or two particles, one or two small words that would be like a preposition or an adverb. So a verb plus one or two particles, one or two small words. I have some examples here. The first is turn on. Turn on. We have the verb turn plus the preposition on. To start a machine or light. Turn on means to start a machine or light. I turn on the car. Can you turn on the light for me? Another example is look after. Look after. We have the verb look plus the preposition after. This means take care of. It means to take care of. I will look after your dog on Saturday. The last is bring up. Bring up. It is the verb bring plus the preposition up. It means to mention something. And maybe in conversation with someone else, you say, oh, I wanted to bring this up yesterday, but I didn't get a chance. Or I was hoping to bring up this topic with you today. So when you want to talk about something with someone, you could use the phrasal verb bring up. Another phrasal verb that we could use would be give up. Give up means to stop trying, to stop trying. Another one could be take off. Take off is like what a plane does. A plane takes off into the air. You could also use take off when talking about leaving a place. Like I might say, oh, I'm going to take off now. I'm going to go. I'm going to take off now. I'm going to leave. So those are some other examples of phrasal verbs. Okay, let's now talk about some correct ways to use phrasal verbs and some incorrect ways. Here are some ways to use phrasal verbs correctly and some ways to not use them correctly, some incorrect ways. So sometimes the phrasal verb is separable, meaning you can separate it. You can put the object in the middle of the phrasal verb. So you can separate the two words and add the object in the middle. An example of this would be with turn off, and then would also work with turn on. Turn off the TV or turn the TV off. So then you see the object is in the middle of the phrasal verb. So sometimes you can separate a phrasal verb, turn off the TV, turn the TV off, but sometimes you cannot separate phrasal verbs. It just will not make sense. Like in this example, we're dealing with a difficult situation. So the phrasal verb is here, dealing with. We're dealing with a difficult situation. But in this case, you could not separate the phrasal verb. You cannot say, we're dealing a difficult situation with. It just doesn't make sense in this sentence. And so sometimes they are separable and sometimes they are not separable. You cannot separate them. They are inseparable. Separable meaning it can be separated. Inseparable meaning it cannot be separated. And then finally, sometimes the phrasal verb will have two particles. And I have two examples here of two particles with the phrasal verb. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. So the phrasal verb is looking forward to. So we have two particles, forward and to. Looking forward to. Looking forward to means you're excited about something that is going to happen. I'm looking forward to the concert. I'm looking forward to starting school. I'm looking forward to going shopping. Looking forward to means you're excited about something that has not happened yet. The second example I have is she can't put up with it. She can't put up with it. So here we have put up with, and that is the phrasal verb. It has two particles, up and with. She can't put up with it. Put up with. This means to put up with something means that you are allowing something to happen, or in this case, because it is negative with the can't, not allowing something to happen. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm not allowing this to happen. So here are some ways we do use phrasal verbs and some ways we do not. Now let's talk about some phrasal verbs that native speakers use all the time. Here are 7 high-frequency phrasal verbs that native speakers use all the time. These phrasal verbs are around a B2, C1 level, so they're a little bit more advanced for intermediate or upper intermediate learners. The first we talked about at the beginning, it is bring up or to mention a topic. Like I said at the beginning, I wanted to bring this up yesterday, but didn't get a chance. Or even in the past tense, saying, oh, I brought that up at the meeting yesterday. The next, come across. Come across means to find something by chance. To find something by chance. And again, we could say it in the past tense, or even saying, I'm hoping to come across an outfit to purchase for an event I have, or, oh, I came across this topic in an article I read yesterday. And so both in the present and the past tense, come across or came across. The next, cut down on, which means to reduce consumption, which means that you stop or try to stop doing something or eating something or using something specific. So for example, you could say, I'm trying to cut down on plastic, or I'm trying to cut down on waste, food waste even. I'm trying to cut down on food waste, which means you throw away less food. I just use more of the food I have, or I use less plastic. I reduce consumption, or I reduce using something. Then we have figure out. Figure out means to understand something. And so you would say, oh, I'm trying to figure out where to go for dinner, or I'm trying to figure out what this word means. I'm trying to figure out what a phrasal verb is. Or yesterday, I was able to figure out what I'm going to do in the summer. Or yesterday I figured out that I love Brussels sprouts. Something, to understand something. This one is used a lot. I think I use this one a lot in my everyday speaking. The next is to get over, and this means to recover from something. Could be something physical or something emotional, like if you went through a breakup and you talk about getting over a person. But it could also be when you get over an illness or something to that effect. So you say, oh yeah, I had a cold yesterday, but I got over it today. Or I hope I get over this cold by next week. Or I hope I get over this sickness by next week so I can go back to work. So get over. And then we have run into. This means to see someone unexpectedly. And so I might say, oh, I ran into this person I know yesterday at the store. And I didn't expect to see them, but you run into them unexpectedly. And so you maybe have a conversation, you catch up a little bit, probably not someone you see a lot, or could be either way. And say, oh yeah, I ran into my mom at the park yesterday, or I ran into my friend when I was walking to the store. So then we have take up. The final one is take up, which means to start a new hobby. And so maybe you want to take up cooking, or take up knitting, or take up crocheting, or take up photography, some type of hobby. And a hobby is something you do in your spare time for fun, maybe like painting or knitting or crocheting or photography, or it could be any other type of artistic thing that you enjoy doing. Watching TV is not a hobby, watching movies is not a hobby, but other things that you do with your hands, maybe you enjoy puzzles, that could be a hobby. And so if you are wanting to start a new hobby or activity, you take up that hobby. I'm going to take up painting, or I'm going to take up, it could even be a sport. I'm going to take up playing soccer, or I'm going to take up playing football, whichever. So these are 7 phrasal verbs that are high frequency phrasal verbs that native speakers use all. The final thing we will do is look at these phrasal verbs used in context. I will read the sentence and then you repeat after me the sentence as well to practice using these phrasal verbs in context. And the sentence you read, you can imagine what the context it would have been used in. Okay, the first, I need to cut down on coffee. I drink too much. I need to cut down on coffee. I drink too much. Your turn. So the phrasal verb is cut down on. Cut down on coffee. The next one, we brought up the idea of moving abroad. We brought up the idea of moving abroad. So the phrasal verb is brought up. Again, this is in the past tense, the bring up phrasal verb in the past tense. We brought up the idea of moving abroad. Next, she ran into her ex at a concert. Awkward. She ran into her ex at a concert. Awkward. Your turn. So the phrasal verb is ran into. Her ex means like an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girlfriend. And then awkward means an uncomfortable situation. So this situation would have been uncomfortable or awkward. The next one, I can't figure out why the computer won't start. I can't figure out why the computer won't start. So the phrasal verb is figure out. And in this case, it's in the negative with the can't. I can't figure out why the computer won't start. And the final one, he took up yoga during the pandemic. He took up yoga during the pandemic. Your turn. So the phrasal verb is took up. He took up yoga. And this is that hobby, a hobby that we were talking about. Yoga would be a hobby in this case. Took up yoga during the pandemic. So I hope this video has been helpful for you in understanding phrasal verbs at a little bit of a higher level. If so, please like and subscribe. And also, just so you know, phrasal verbs are confusing and can be hard to remember. And so it's helpful to listen to conversations, listen to videos like this, of course, and then also write down the phrasal verbs you hear and practice using them in sentences on your own. So in the comments, you can add a sentence that has a phrasal verb in it under this video. And we will see you in the next video.